I'm Malcolm Van Delst, and this is an excerpt from Do the Wrong Thing, a book series or extra long novel that opens with a woman trying to kill herself. She says, "I don't know why I tried to do this," and by way of explanation, tells her life story. We're about halfway through book 3, working title Shiny Pretty Gothic. Last week in Shiny Pretty Gothic, Ava tried a new designer drug, philosophized about what makes something funny, and fought with her mother, who refuses to say the word bulimia. This chapter is called Ghosts in the Stomach. We're continuing on with that chapter. You haven't read it, have you? I did, my mother says in a sing-songy voice. You did? Yes, sing-songy again. I didn't think she'd read it. I'm so proud of being published. I brought her Desolation, the very first edition and issue, with my story in it, like that cat again from grade 1, bringing her birds in the form of A's. She pouts, chin drawn down, lips pursed, looking confused. What can she say about a story I wrote about an insane mother? She could realize that me writing about her, or a fictionalized depiction of her, is trying to reconcile our relationship, or who she is, or trying to push the walls back and make space for myself in her life, or shit. I'm just a slave. No one loves me. When you were a baby, I picked you up out of your cradle and cried right along with you. I'll take your father's rifle to the back of the farm and blow my head off, then see how you feel. I don't want to be like her. That's how I feel. Anyway, she doesn't comment on my work, and suddenly my work is meaningless. So I run away, sort of. I've already been planning this hitchhiking around the States trip. Part 2, a grand tour. Running through a clearing in the woods with 2 other girls, we're not holding hands, and we don't have daisies in our hair. We're tall, thin, suntanned, and blonde, though. Is it my new friend, Lisa? Is that why I'm so happy? In a huge Appalachian park where streams run down from mountaintops, burbling, skipping over rocks, and creating pools where animals like us splash and swim, there are about 20,000 people here. Hippies, freaks, free spirits. A rainbow gathering happens in a different national park each year. People come from all over North America, all over the world to attend. No entry fee. Everyone gets fed. Organizers passing a magic hat at an evening drumming and dancing circle where you put your contribution for the food and essentials needed to run the event. I'm not sure what people are putting in the hat, though, because money is forbidden. And it's not so much a circle as a clearing filled with dancing, whooping, gyrating, naked people. That's right. The other defining characteristic of a rainbow gathering is that clothing is optional. Lisa came here alone. Elizabeth and I came with a Rouliesse congregation. Lisa's braver than I can ever dream of being. Not a hippie, edgy and devil-may-care, she smirks when anyone recites those pat lines about sharing peace and harmony that everyone tosses around like wrappers from a chocolate bar on a hot sunny day when you're on a country road and there isn't a garbage can in sight. And she speaks with a skepticism I admire. Appearing out of nowhere, she joined Elizabeth and I. In New York, she waitresses, she says, in a fancy restaurant at the top of a skyscraper. I imagine her there, moving like a vertical snake among a crowd of admiring men, twining, smiling, and doling out favors. Whatever those are, a wink, a lingering look, or a caress across the shoulder. She puts down a drink, I guess. Higher than anyone else, she floats in the sky, looking down at the people in a restaurant, and beyond that to the roofs of lesser buildings, stories below the one she's in, and beyond that, down, down, down to the cars, taxis, and specks like fly shit from where she is, that are people, crushed by their miserable lives in a way she isn't. Lisa is higher, smarter, more beautiful, and well, better than anyone. Elizabeth, a marine biology student, wants to hitch around the States after the rainbow gathering, as do I. When we get to San Francisco, she'll meet up with her boyfriend and I'll finish the rest of my trip alone. Lisa's coming with us, suggesting we go to New Orleans first. Okay, we said. I rode to North Carolina on the Greyhound with a friend of Neil and Bradley's named Michael. I'd have traveled earlier with Neil, Bradley, and the rest, but was working. I've got a good waitressing job now at a lunch place in the city's richest neighborhood. Michael, a curly-haired brainiac Jew with an unnaturally low voice, like literally unnatural. You can hear him modulate it when he talks. He consciously lowers his voice, like he's a radio announcer, but for regular, casual conversations. The hell? He loves jazz and plays xylophone. Xylophone. If you don't tell him point blank to stop talking, he'll go on and on. If you reply to him sharply, trying to get him to shut up, he'll break for a bit, then start in with the questions. Once he thinks he's softened you, he'll start with the monologues again. Maybe you meant that you liked Jim Morrison, but you said Jim Morrison rocks, which he doesn't because he's dead. Though it could be argued that when he was alive, he didn't rock either. He had pretty serious trauma and mental health issues he was working out. Michael's permagrin and the inward-looking light in his eyes are partially superseded by the fact that his dad is a music exec. How cool is that? We had to change buses in New York at 4 a.m. What energy. You can literally feel the air buzzing around you, your skin and body. People ambled around, some selling stuff, some going about their day. It was night. Rouliesse, you couldn't find that many people in an all-night diner at 4 a.m. What a city. 2 p.m. in the Appalachian Park, and I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep much on the bus. I crawl into the tent I'll share with Neil, Bradley, and Dorothy, a big 5-person structure, and lie down beside 3 other people, hoping to catch some Z's. Everyone sleeps in everyone else's tents, at least during the day, at least at the Rouliesse camp, part of the share and share alike ethos. I wake up to a guy, actually a 40-something man, curled up behind me, breathing his cigarette breath onto my face and touching my breasts. Hey, I sit up quickly. He smiles, shrugs as if he tried to negotiate a lower price at a flea market and lost. I glower at him, not that he cares, then leave the tent and wander, dazed and feeling dirty, even though it's hardly my fault that that guy touched me. I find Michael. He's sitting outside his tent, reading. Can I sleep here for a bit? A guy tried to fondle me in my tent. Absolutely, he says in his weird baritone. Holy shit, some people are such idiots. Are you okay? Do you want me to set the guy straight? I'm touched. I wasn't expecting him to care or try to protect me. I'm okay, I say. Thanks. I can sleep here for a bit. That's all I need. Go on in, he says, moving out of the way. I'm sorry. No problem, he says. I'll keep guard. And he does, reading in his little camping chair just outside the entrance. At the Rouliesse camp, boulders support steel bars holding industrial-sized pots over a 4 or 5 foot wide fire pit. Beside this, tarps cover a food prep area. Professional and civilized for being built by a bunch of naked high people in a rural forest, right? At least 5 campers cook, with more peeling carrots and potatoes, doing dishes, and cleaning up the grounds afterwards. We must have served at least 100 people the first night. It's hard to imagine that whatever people put in the magic hat is enough to transform into all these carrots, potatoes, onions, and rice, but the big sacks of raw vegetables arrive on a truck each day, unloaded by a crew of bare, skinny, long-haired Santas who then move on to the next camp. Though you can't trade money at Rainbow, you can swap other things, beads, crafts, and I gotta wonder if Bradley, Neil, and Auden are making drug deals. Marijuana floats through the air like an olfactory sonata, stronger and more piquant at times, then decreasing to a low but ever-present rumble, then building again. Walking around, you breathe little runs and notes in different tones. Tinkle, 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 the far right notes on a piano, om, an oboe. Yeah, 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 someone's singing. A huge 20,000 person pipe organ. That cute small girl in the Peter Panish costume jumping around at the end of the Hare Krishna procession. How stoned is she? She plays a flute, or the recorder exaggeratedly jumping from foot to foot, lifting her knees to her waist and holding her elbows out wide. I laugh. I don't think the Hare Krishnas realize she's there. I can't tell if she's one of or mocking them. Her eyes glow into a smile when she sees me watching, mocking. Later, when we're both standing around the Hare Krishna kitchen eating off paper plates, I tell her how much I enjoyed her dancing. I've always wanted to dance with the Hare Krishna, she laughs, so I took my opportunity. I'm Ava, I say, from Rouliesse, Canada. No way, I'm from Arbor. No way, I grew up in Arbor. Well, outside of Arbor, Dardanelle. I've been there. I stare at this pixie girl. This is the farthest I've ever been from home in my whole life. And I meet someone who's been to population 4,000 Dardanelle.